This is Cultured Unmasked, and actually we're coming out of Pittsburgh this time, but still shout out to Blank Canvas at was it 2176? 2174 Lee Road in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. But this time we're coming out of Pittsburgh. This is Madison Hawthorne with Golden Tree Publishing, and I'm here with Newman and Ray. You guys want to go ahead and give your shouts real quick?
This is Chris, kind of the head honcho for the artist and those persons who paint kind of roles. I like to focus on those a little bit. You can find me at Chris Newman 216 on Instagram. Working on a book for my daughter and started to work on those short story books, some horror short stories with Mike, who runs Blank Canvas. So that's a little bit about me.
Ray. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Raymond Youngblood, a.k.a. Ray's Arts. I am the creator of Twilight Angel, a comic book series in the making. You can find more information about me and my artwork on Instagram at Ray's Arts, RAIZ_arts.
Okay, and Ray's coming in from the telephone this time. He's not here with us. He's a busy man. And again, this is Madison Hawthorne from Golden Tree Publishing. You can find us at Golden Tree Publishing on Instagram, Golden Tree Publishing on Facebook, and again, it's Golden Tree TV on YouTube, where you can also catch this podcast. We put it up on the YouTube channel as well. But we're going to go ahead and just get into it. Anything you guys saw recently? Anything coming up that you're interested in?
I finally got down and watched Sonic.
Okay.
Star Wars.
Oh.
The Invisible Man.
You did the new one.
The new one.
How was that?
It was what you expected in a horror movie. It was good. It held you, but then you kind of predicted what was going to happen. So it wasn't a new twist, but it was kind of entertaining though. You know, and the saying that they kind of kept it in like two places. One person's house, another person's house, you know, so like they didn't really expand it. Like this lady was at the grocery store and this person came tapping on them. So, and there was another scene at the police station, but they kind of kept it very condensed. I don't know if that was to keep the budget low or whatnot, but for what it was worth, it was fun. I can see them doing another one and kind of making it a little bit more gritty. So it was a fun watch for knowing what it's an invisible man. You know you're gonna get caught,
right?
Type stuff, yeah. Man. But it was good. It was a cool little twist that they had in the beginning.
Anything Yeah, go ahead.
I thought the Invisible Man was pretty good. Like, don't get me wrong. It definitely had a little bit of predictability in there. I definitely figured some things out. I don't want to spoil too much. But I will say that I haven't seen a horror movie that actually had me sitting on the edge of my seat for a while before seeing Invisible Man. Like, it's just the concept of somebody being in the room and you not knowing where they're at. They did a really good job with it. I thought. I will say that, yeah, there were definitely a few predictable things. And ultimately, it had a few slow moments. But overall, it was much better than I anticipated. So maybe that's why I may have enjoyed it a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. I say it's rewatchable. It definitely has that rewatchable context to it.
Yeah, I just read the reviews. I with the spoilers and stuff, but
see, you can't read reviews, man.
Man, I just read it because I knew I wasn't even gonna. I feel like you can't even spoil a movie like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Spoiler that's really gonna like be like, oh no, like it ruined it for me. Like,
yeah,
I see dead people at the end. Like, it's not gonna be like that. But yeah. So I mean, I'll probably catch it sometime. That's something that I wouldn't see in the theaters. So I'll see that another time.
I saw Sonic, and I remember you guys talking about it. I'm telling everyone to watch that, man. Like I had the kids watch it, That was a fun movie, man.
Yeah, that's what I say, man. That joint was surprisingly good. They did a good job with that, man. They really, they surprised me, man. I just was, you know what I mean? I really only went to see it like that because Ray was so hype about it. That's basically why
it was a good catch you off guard movie.
Yeah, the joint I watched the last weekend was Castlevania on Netflix, the season 3. Castlevania, the anime joint. Yeah, that joint's tight. Yeah, they killed that joint again. Like, yo, they're doing a good job with that series on Netflix. That's like my favorite anime right now.
Oh, yeah. I've seen half of season 1.
Yeah, well, season 1's only 4 episodes. So you might have seen the whole season.
Oh, I must have seen the whole season. Yeah, I know I've seen the season.
It's short. It's 30-minute episodes. Yeah, it's short. And this season 2, I think, is 8 episodes, and then they did 10 for this one. It's not as good as the second season, but that joint was tight.
Oh man, we'll have to check that out. But I wanted to add, did you see the trailer for Candyman?
Yeah. That joint looks like it's gonna be real good. Yeah, man.
Boy.
I think that's gonna be the trailer. You know what? The trailer's so good. I wonder if the movie's gonna be good. You know, sometimes when they kill the trailer because they know the movie's not good, so they just
give you every
show out on the trailer. Like they make the trailer make you really want to see it, and then when you get there, the movie don't be good because they knew it wasn't good. So they really like put everything they have into that trailer to get you into theaters. But
oh man, I hope they don't do that, man. Because Candyman, like I said, to this day, that was the only movie that scared me. Until my brother like gave me some little things that made me like question, like, yeah, you really scared about somebody who you got to call to come kill you?
Right.
You just don't come out of nowhere. You got to request you got
to ask for him to come. Like,
I was like, yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's like the. So you gotta say how many times you gotta say his name? 5. So here's the question: do you gotta say his name 5 consecutive times, or like if I say his name 5 times throughout the year, is he gonna come get me? Like you're like, how does that work? What's the time limit on the 5 calls? You gotta say it like
before midnight.
Like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Or if I say 5 before midnight, am I got? Like how does that work?
It doesn't gotta be the same mirror.
Right, yeah. It doesn't have to be. Yeah. I say 5 times in 5 different mirrors at 5 different houses. How does that work?
Check them when you come up. Hey, bro. But just a different mirror.
Right. I started over.
Yeah.
I needed to answer those questions for me. That's how I feel. What was the other thing when we was kids? Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
You say like Bloody Mary.
I did that, man, when I was a kid.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, you're crazy. I would never do that. What?
Oh, man, I did that, man. Look, I was shook, but I did it. One of the kids ran out the bathroom because we turned the lights off in the bathroom.
Multiple
kids.
people.
Yeah, it was like we was all going to die together.
For the rest of your life, don't trust that dude who came up with that suggestion. If we gonna go.
Oh man, like 2 kids ran out the bathroom. This was like I was in 4th grade or so.
Oh man, yeah. He can't drive us all nowhere. Because if he just was like he don't want to live no more, the rest of us ain't got a choice. It's a wrap.
Yeah, that's definitely a very unreliable person.
Yeah,
that was all I really saw and you know really captivated me. That show,
The Hunters. What show was that?
That's Amazon. I wonder where is that out?
Yeah, it's out.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh man, you hear that in his voice? You got to speak on it.
Yeah, how was it?
Man, that was the absolute worst Pixar movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Huh?
I said, I thought I told you, man. It didn't look good.
Yeah, one word was trash. Like, here's the thing, it didn't have to be. So, essentially what they did to me, they said, all right, well, we're going to put all these things on a checklist, and it's going to be a perfect Pixar movie. We got the adventure, check. We got the tearjerker, check. We got the quirky characters, check. But everything was so dry and dull in the entire movie. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting better. Especially since, Frozen 2 was alright. I expected this to at least be on the level of Frozen 2.
I ain't see Frozen 2.
I ain't see I ain't see Frozen 1. No, all I know is that everybody's talking about Let It Go.
Yeah.
For like a year and a half straight. I never see, like I said, I haven't really seen none of them type of movies in the grip, none of the animated joints. Yeah, it's been a minute since I messed with Disney and Pixar like that.
Yo, man, if you could say, that's on y'all.
Like, yeah, man, that movie didn't even look like it was going to be. You know what? I don't know, man. But I'm glad you could let the people know that this ain't 100%. Yeah, they ain't perfect.
And that's probably why they ain't promoted that much, man. I mean, at least from where I get my information, because I know there's two movies that I saw way after they were on videos. It was Coco and Moana. I was impressed with those. I really like those, and my kids did too. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not quick to jump over movies when they're in theater, when they're Disney. But it seems like it's not even on those tiers from what you're saying. Because like you said, the dryness, I guess.
It needed a lot of work in my opinion. But the thing is, I don't know what exactly it is that I felt like they needed. So they took away a big character moment and gave it to another character. And maybe that's what would have happened. Like they tried to, so our day and age, we try to do twists. We try to do, they'd never see this coming. And like, that's great. But sometimes tried and true is the best. And tried and true is why Sonic did as well as it did, Sonic was a good story, but it wasn't a new story. You know what I mean? And I believe that's why, it did so well. Now the sequels, they can do a little bit more with. When you're trying to introduce us to someone, we don't know these guys, so we can't give them passes at all. I don't see an Onward 2 being created. I really don't. And it had one of the worst openings for Pixar ever. So, yeah.
I'm going to check it out one of these days when I got like a free.
Be on Disney Plus.
When I get that coronavirus and they got me bedridden.
Quarantine. Yeah. I'm going to check it out. I watch a lot of stuff in quarantine. But yeah. So are you going to go see Trolls 2?
So, probably not. Unless I happen to be in Tennessee and I'm with my goddaughter. No, I'm not really trying to see that.
Yeah,
I didn't care for the first Trolls movie.
Was that?
I said I didn't really care for the first Trolls movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen that on Netflix.
Trolls this.
Yeah, that joint was weak.
Yeah, that's another movie I know about until my kids put it on and I watched it.
Hey, but the one joint, I was looking it up. I was like, what was the movie that's coming out that I might want to see? Is the My Spy joint with the boy Batista.
Oh yeah.
That joint actually looked like it might be kind of funny, so I might check that joint out.
I've seen previews for that. Yeah. Let me ask you this. I mean, with reference to movies and predictability, because you write, does that get in the way of you enjoying movies sometime? Because you would put yourself in, if I was writing this, they should have went this direction. Does that take away, or can you take yourself out that moment and just try to enjoy the movie for what it is at times?
Yeah, I mean, I can enjoy the movie for what it is. Sometimes I see I guess sometimes it puts you in a weird space, like sometimes I see what's coming, or sometimes somebody I have an issue with something like if I'm talking to somebody about an issue, and I wish I could just give some specific examples. But sometimes you just gotta be talking about a movie, but somebody's like, I didn't like that part of the movie, and I'm like, I see why they didn't like it, but then I think if I was the writer, I would have did the same thing. Because that's the only way I could have made it work. You know what I mean? So sometimes I think of that. Sometimes I give them a pass. Things that people are harping on that were bad for a movie, and I give it a pass because I'm that's the only way like I could even think of as a writer to make that work. But then other times it's like, oh man, this is too predictable. Like, you know what I mean? Like I already see where you're going. Like in the first, like I already know we 10 minutes into the movie and I'm like, I know how this, I know how this movie is. Yeah. I mean, shoot, Britt, my fiance, she always know how the movie is. No, she's mad good with that. Yeah, she be calling it crazy. I'm like, oh man, that's wild. She's like, I bet this, and this. I'm like, oh no, that's not what it's gonna be. That's what it be.
Dang.
So I mean, it depends, man. It's like I can take myself out of it, but at the same time too, it's like. But also the good thing too, sometimes it's like, oh wow, I see what they did there when they're writing it. That's not something I would have thought of. Like, I could take that and use that for like my stuff. Like if I got caught in a corner with something, I wrote myself into a corner with something, and then I'll watch a movie or read a comic or something like that. And I'll see how they did something. I'm like, oh wow, that's how they did it. You know what I mean? So like, I can take myself out of it, but I'm still always kind of analyzing it from that way. But it doesn't necessarily take away from the enjoyment of the movie.
Okay, I dig it. No, because I was watching a movie. It's called Crawlers. Little horror comedy movie. Based on like St. Patrick's Day and some alien things, some crazy movie. But I'm watching this movie thinking like, oh, this would have been a great point to edit and then go to the next scene. I felt like they just dragged it on. Like, man, if y'all had like somebody who was really into the editing and like directing it, like, I felt like it could have just really
could have been caught.
Yeah.
You know what movie that I always had that feeling with? Like it just bugged me so much. This movie, Pandorum. It's a horror movie. It's called Pandorum. It's like in space. Dennis Quaid, I think, is
I know what you talk about.
Right. Man, that movie could have been so tight. They just changed a couple things, man. Like, I feel like they had that thing. That could have been a classic. But then they just did, like, man, a bunch of stupid stuff. They didn't. Then at one point it became like a martial arts, like the high wire, like old school martial arts, like karate, where like dudes jumping around. And I was like, what are they doing, man? Like the concept was so killer, like, but they just blew it. Like that's one of the movies where I was like, I wish, like, I could have, like, somebody would have just called me for like the script doctor. I was like, let me fix that real quick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But like that, man. Pandorum. When that came out, what? That was like 06, like 06, 07, 08, like around that time. But man, that movie had a lot of potential, and that's one of the ones where I feel like, man, if they would have just changed a couple things, man, that could have been something special. But instead, it was just like, all right,
man, y'all missed it. Yeah. What about you, Ray? Did you catch that question I had?
I heard the tail end of it. So
basically, it's saying, can you take yourself out of enjoying a movie coming from that you write yourself and, saying you have ideas, but can you still enjoy the movie, or do you sometimes don't enjoy it for what it is because you overanalyze it and think about what you could have done with it?
I look at movies like puzzles, actually. And I've come up with a system that I use not to get on everybody's nerves, because kind of like Britt, I pick out a story plot immediately. Like us didn't do anything, didn't surprise me at all. I loved it. It was actually one of my favorite movies from last year, but it didn't say anything narratively that I didn't already pick up. So the system that I came up with is that I'll tap you once whenever I have an idea. And once my idea comes to fruition, I'll tap you twice. That way, yeah.
I like that.
I'm not like, oh, you're doing the movie. But
I can't come right to the movies. He gonna be hitting me off. Right. My leg gonna be burning.
They're mini shots. They're not like punches.
I feel you. Yeah, there's certain movies like It 2, Chapter 2. I think that could have been so much better if they just edited some of that the dialogue down.
Right.
And some scenes that like I feel like they just wanted it in there opposed to like working with the flow of the movie. You know?
That movie was definitely bloated.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even see it, man. I saw the old one back in the day. I saw the whole thing of that, and then I saw the first new remake of it. And I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but then I just never even got around to seeing the second one.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Man, those movies, I couldn't wait for the second one to come. I probably watched, you know what I'm saying, the redo of it. Man, it's probably been over 100 times. Like, I'm always watching that one. I loved it. And I think we talked about it before. It's just like, you know what I'm saying, with having the kids, you know what I'm saying, you're not as logical as you would think an adult is.
Right.
You know, so that probably what gave it that more it factor, I guess I'm looking for in a horror movie opposed to adults. Like, come on, man, you more rational than this.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, just I know Ray's little double tap, man. He got it.
So he calling out the movies easy.
What is that, Morse code he hitting you with?
Yeah. I wanted to get into is there anything else y'all trying to see coming up before we step over to the main topic?
Oh, actually, I do recommend the My Hero Academia movie. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah, it hit all the points.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, 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 really good. I saw it twice, actually. So,
okay.
But I always see movies twice. I guess that's not really an indicator. But go see that movie if you haven't. Trust me, it was really good. They fixed a lot of stuff from the first movie. They actually made a story where it made sense for everybody to be in one area. They wrote out villains that actually made sense. They did a really, really good job with this movie.
I bet. Yeah, I gotta check that out. I've been meaning to check that joint out, but I just ain't really had the time like that to peep it, especially because I spent all that time watching Castlevania. I watched 10 episodes on the same day.
It go down like that.
Hey, I lost my whole day to that thing.
What's the length of those?
They're only 30 minutes.
Just like the first season there?
Yeah, just like the first. So it was like 5 hours of stuff.
Not bad.
And then,
actually, it is.
Watch some other stuff on Netflix. I have to save some stuff for the time I get quarantined, whatever that's.
Tell me, man. Yeah.
Don't watch everything.
Hey, get your quarantine material.
You might have 14 long days. But yeah, that wanted to move me over to if that's y'all don't got anything else, so get over to the
transition
to the main topic here, which is basically, man, just running down studying and formats for print and comics, and kind of what people can expect and look for as far as like just if you're trying to get, once you got your comic and stuff finished, or you got it ready, you think you got it ready to produce, you got it ready to publish, and just kind of what the steps are, some of the steps or different places you can go for that. And basically I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. I know for you, Newman, it's going to be like, for yours, it's going to be more like a children's book.
Right.
You're probably going to have a ton of options for like however you want to do it, because they got, you see when you go to the store, they got the thin ones, they got the ones that are super thick, almost cardboard, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're only like 10 pages, but they're like super thick cardboard style, like publishing and prints like that. Do you have an idea how you were going to kind of set yours up, or are you still thinking about it?
With this, with the book and everything, majority of it, because it's a children's book, so it's going to be a lot of pictures. It's going to be print. So, and I'm thinking about, my target audience, and like it's going to be the parents reading it to the younger kids. It's going to be the kids wanting to pay attention to it. So I want to have it like in the doctor's office, like the pediatrician. I wanted to have it in the library, school library, so you can actually hold it. It's a thin, it's not going to be more than 20, 30 pages, and that's from cover to cover, even probably less. But yeah, it's not going to be digital per se, because that's going to be a quick flip. Yes, it's going to have it as an option for digital, but with this, it's going to be more print. And I do want to have where it's almost like a series down the line. It's a short story, but in my mind, one day it could be a bigger book where it's going to be a little bit thicker, the hardcover, because it's going to have a lot more detail, a lot more about the characters, the surrounding characters, as opposed to it's like basically one person, right. The book is about. But again, it's in my mind, the target audience are parents reading to their children. So anywhere from 2 to, let's say, 12, because most kids are done with the kid stuff way earlier than they have been in the past. So it might even be 2 to 8. But yeah, it's going to be all thin paper. But the option is going to be digital, but I don't think that's going to be where the majority of the revenue comes from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're looking more for digital first. You're probably going to do a digital first release, you think, or are you going to do them both, like digital and paper at the same time?
It's going to be like a pre-order. So I'm going to have it like marketing, where people are going to have that build up like a month before. You could go on Instagram, you'll see pictures and things like that, but that build up is going to be a month before. Then you can order it online. So it's going to be the digital first, like you said.
Okay, yeah.
But then, you can order that book to have, and then I'm going to try to infiltrate, like I said, libraries and schools. I've talked to a bunch of different places already, local communities and schools who want copies to have on hand. So I guess, like you say, it's going to be digital first.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people do now, too, especially when you end your publishing.
Right.
You do digital first. What about you, Ray? What did you think, like as far as were you going to go digital, or were you looking digital and print at the same time for when you release Twilight Angel?
I'm going to have to definitely do both, but the digital release is going to come in June for sure.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I guess the reason why I asked them is because, like I said, I'm going to get into print and stuff like that as far as like what creators can do to get started with that. And like both Ray and Newman said, and even myself, a lot of people are just going digital first, because if it's done, that's the easiest way to get it out and get it into people's hands. But I still encourage people to go to print. And the reason why is just like a side note, because this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with print or anything like that. But a side note is there's a reason why nobody releases digital comic sales numbers, and it's probably because they're not great. So, because if they were killing it, then they would tell people. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people think that they're going to go digital, and they're not even going to worry about print, because print can be expensive. But hopefully I'm going to tell you guys some things that are listening that so that'll make it a little cheaper for you. But a lot of people think they're just going to put their comic on digital, and then it's, it doesn't cost them anything, and then they're going to just get a bunch of sales. But it's, going digital is just like anything else. It's like being a rapper or something right now. Like, there's so much already there. You're just going to get put in the mix. So, we'll get into, on another podcast, we'll talk about marketing as well. But like I said, I'm going to focus on setting up for print. So essentially we'll start with just the general format for if you're getting into print. If you're going to go digital, so the one of the things that a lot of people don't know about is just the simple setup for, so you got your comic ready to print, you got it ready to publish, you want to put it on Amazon, you want to put it on Comixology, you want to sell it on your own website, whatever you want to do. So there's two different color formats for your setup, right? There's CMYK and there's RGB, and those indicate basically the colors that are focused. So RGB is like red, green, black, and CMYK is like some cayenne, magenta, something. I don't know. But if you're going digital, you generally want to use RGB because people are going to be looking at it online. And so the way the colors work, they work better for digital with RGB. And so like if you're putting it on Amazon or Comixology, usually they'll request that you do it RGB. I think Comixology may even reject you if you don't. But you want to put anything that you're going to do digital, even when you're like just putting logos and things up on a website or something like that, you want to put it RGB mode. You want to use CMYK for print. So when you're actually printing things, you want to print it in CMYK, and that has a lot to do with a lot of people are using digital printers, and or even if it's a screen press printer, and we'll talk about some different printing types, but that's going to give you generally a better color. If you use RGB, like it's not going to look terrible for print, but what you may find is a lot of your colors are kind of blown out or distorted. So like the way it looks on your computer, and then with RGB, then you send the file over to the printer RGB. When you get to print, the colors are going to be different than what you're seeing on the computer versus what you're seeing on the page with RGB. So like the red might be a lot brighter and it's darker on the computer screen, and that's because you got to switch that format out. But the one trick I will tell people is if you want to make something that's got a lot of color pop and a lot of color punch to it, print in RGB. So if you have something that's like psychedelic, like you want super bright colors, I would print in RGB for that. Like nobody's going to tell you to do that, but I'm going to tell you to do that because I'm telling you the colors are going to be, like I said, the colors kind of get blown out. But if you have something that's supposed to be like super bright and like pop out like super crazy, like could grab the eye, then RGB is going to do that a lot better than CMYK, which is going to dull those colors to make them look more like they're supposed to look versus with RGB. And that's actually what I do with, so for my title, ETA, which is black and white, that's CMYK. And then for Unicorn Melee, I actually printed in RGB, so it's in digital and print. They're both in RGB because I want that color pop. I initially printed the Unicorn Melee in CMYK, and it looked good, but it was kind of dull, and I just wanted to see what RGB would look like. And when I got it back, I was like, wow, this looks actually better. But that's because there's a lot of bright pinks and bright blues and bright neon greens and stuff in there. So it looks a lot better that way. So if you have something like that, go ahead and print in RGB, but basically for anything else, CMYK, and especially if you're setting up your printing to go to like a publisher, like say you got your stuff published and they need your files, they're going to ask for them in CMYK probably when they go through their printer. So
you got to do that on the front end.
Yeah, so you want to do that before you even send it to them. You've got to do that on your end. So you can do that. It's a simple option. I would just say Google a tutorial on how to do it on whatever program you're using, and they'll show you how to flip that. If your program can't do it, Adobe can do it. So in Photoshop or in Illustrator, it's just a simple file option where you can flip it from RGB to CMYK or back and forth, however you want to do it.
So I got to pay attention in my book because, like I said, I drew everything out digitally, but I was just using that program. So I mean that's good information for me. I got to pay attention. Like I said, if it's going to look digital versus print, it's going to be both. So I need to know that format for when I do get it printed. So to get those colors to pop a little bit better.
Right. And Ray, did you think did you ever look into if you're going to do print, who you're going to use or how you're going to go about it?
I'm probably going to print through Kablam, or who was the other one that you told me, Madison?
There was Kablam, there's Print Ninja. There's a lot of printers out there. I usually recommend Kablam and Print Ninja for people to use, or aside, I guess, for comics. Another thing too is I guess Alterna Comics has printing partnership, and they do things in newsprint. So that's a real thin paper. So basically, when you're looking at printing comics, I think generally you're going to probably get your comics printed in what's called 70-pound paper. So that's like 70 hashtag for people listening out there. Mm-hmm. The pound and hashtag are the same thing. So it'd be 70 and then that hashtag. And then basically how you look at that, if you're trying to figure out what those are, is the higher the number, the thicker the paper. So like a 10-pound paper is like toilet paper. You know what I mean? Versus and 70-pound, and then there's 80-pound, 90-pound. And then you can get into cardstock. So like your covers are going to be on stock. So that's like going to be something that's a little harder. You can get like a thicker cover, and that works the same way too. Basically, the higher, the thicker. But so generally, I think most people, 70-pound is the standard. If you do 80, it's going to give your comic a real nice full fill, but it's also completely unnecessary nowadays. It's just going to cost a lot more too, because usually the heavier the stock, the more it costs. And so that's what I was saying. So if you're going to do like a couple single issues, I've tried a bunch of different printers, and I find that Kablam's the best, especially because you can like work with them, or like you can stop it before they print it if you find an error, and if they haven't printed it yet, they'll refill it and give you a new file. It's probably a lot cheaper. There's places, I don't know how it's going to work now with the coronavirus, mm-hmm. but there's a lot of Chinese printers.
Oh yeah, no.
Where you can get things printed up real cheap. I'm not even going to recommend it in them or even give you names. You can look them up. There's a ton of them, but they'll have some of the best margins as far as price wise. But the problem is it's hard to get edits if you notice something late, and it takes a really long time to just get it. Like you don't know when they're going to come in. Because it's not as efficient, whereas Kablam operates out of America, and so you can have some back and forth dialogue with them, and again, like if you have an issue with a file, you can work that out. And you can order one copy too.
Oh dang, that's good.
All you need, they take orders from 1 to whatever. So it's not like you have a minimum order you have to place with them. That's another thing you can do too, is you can just order one copy to see how your comic's going to look. And it's not like they're going to charge you $10 for that. Like they're going to charge you basically the same price as if you ordered 40. Mm-hmm. And then they have price breaks incrementally at like certain amounts. If you order a certain amount, then they give you a discount or something like that. And this is not a plug for Kablam at all. Like I don't have no.
Yeah, they're not paying us.
Yeah, I don't have no. I'm just saying like that. That's one of the companies that I found that I use a lot. You can try to set some stuff up if you have a lot of time too for printing. You can let's say you publish digital. You can go through Amazon, and it takes a lot of time, but you can format a comic book to go on their print on demand. It takes some finagling, and it's not going to look it's not going to be like perfect because they don't have a shape for a comic book. Like they don't have comic book size papers and stuff, but you can still work your margins out to kind of get into kind of a print on demand. And with Amazon, then that way it's like when somebody, it's basically completely out of your hands at that point. So if somebody orders your book on Amazon, then they print it and ship it to them. And it's like you don't have to order anything. You're not coming out of your pocket for any money. Like you're not sitting on inventory. But again, it's not going to look as good as if you go through a comic book printing company. But that's one option, especially for people who want print, but who want print but don't have a lot of money, but have enough time to kind of format the Amazon setup to a point where their comic looks good. So that's like something you guys can think about too. I know because it'd be a lot easier for new people like with the children's book because they're going to have a lot of different formats that are going to fit.
They have. And my brother, he printed out a few books. The margins have been different though from what he finagled with.
Right.
And it was just, it left about, damn near an inch of margins around the whole thing. And then he showed me what he did on there, and it was through Amazon. So, that could be another thing we talk about down the line, just where you go through, because I'm really staying away from Amazon until it's an actual copy, because of the whole royalties thing. Like I said, we could talk about that down the line, but I've used other places to do my formatting. Blurbs.com, and I've gotten better with the margins, and then you got to choose a different size book. You get the PDF, what it will look like. I found that to be a lot more helpful than Amazon. Not downplaying Amazon because they might have something better for the comics. But I definitely went down that route. They formatting.
They really don't have anything better for the comics. Like the hurdles that your brother went through. Mm-hmm. Like you really got to sit down and take your time and try to format your stuff to make it fit what they have. But it's a cheaper way, like I said, because it doesn't cost you anything. Whereas when you're going through print, you're paying for it, and then you're hoping to sell it. But that's also why I wanted to. I mentioned Alterna Comics. They have what they call the printing partnership, and they print all their things on newsprint, which is like a super thin, thick. It's basically just thin newspaper. Mm-hmm. And so if you go on their website, they'll tell you everything you need to do to format your comic to their specs so that you can print with them. And then they'll you go through all that, you send them an email or whatever, and they'll make sure that your files are in order, or you make sure your files are in order, and if they're not, they'll send them back and tell you what you need to change. But the thing with them is they're probably the cheapest place to get your comics printed, but you have to have a minimum order of 500. So depending on how many you think you're going to sell, or just how many you want, they're not the best option for everybody, but they're a very good option, because if you have a 22-page comic book, it's going to be 43 cents an issue, whereas almost anywhere else you're going to be paying close to $1 per issue. So you've got to order more. It's almost like buying wholesale, basically. Right. You got to look at it kind of like that with the printing partnership that Alterna Comics has. It's almost like buying wholesale, but that's something that people can look at when they think they're ready to. Almost like if you're looking to. If you went on the pavement and now you're ready to put your comics at comic book stores and you're going to cons and you're selling a good amount, that's going to be a margin that's going to be really hard for any other print-on-demand type of printer to beat. But you also have to want your paper to be on that newsprint, which is a super thin pound paper. Basically, like I said, it's basically as thick as newspaper. So it's a different feel, but I find that if that's something that you're willing to sacrifice on, which is basically the thickness of the paper, I think that that's a good option for people as well. Is there anything, Ray, that you was thinking about as far as whenever you got your comic out that you had questions about or anything like that with printing?
No, honestly, this was extremely informational for real, because I didn't know all of that. And the good thing about this being a podcast is that even though it is a lot of information, you guys can, and need to, re-listen to this over and over and over again. So please do that. It's just getting your comic out is a lot more work than I think that people will understand. And it's really hard whenever you're the guy doing everything. You're the writer, you're the artist, you're the editor, you're everything. So,
right.
Knowing, getting a heads up on how to print is really helpful. So thank you, Madison.
Oh yeah. So I mean that's basically all I got. I mean, like I said, I'm just glossing over the printing. I don't, like Ray said, it's a good amount of information there, and we'll layer it on. I mean, we've got plenty more episodes to go, so we'll always be adding to these type of things. But those are just some things to think about when you're ready to print. Just setting it up, making sure, RGB versus CMYK, looking through different types of printers where you want to print, the paper size. Like I said, it goes by basically the numbers. So the higher the number, the thicker the paper basically is what you're looking for. So you know what to look for when you're getting into printing these comics. But I think we can probably go ahead and probably wrap this up. Any shout outs you want to give, Newman?
Well, it's a Women's Appreciation Month. So I definitely want to shout out all the women out there.
Shout out to the ladies.
No, but talking with my brother, we were looking to do a women's game night. Met this woman, Cece. She runs a hair salon, down the street from us, on Lee Road. I don't have the address, but I know her name is Cece. I can always get that information. But she was also saying she's part of a women's gamers league. So I was looking up, doing some information. So I definitely want to give her a shout out, and then all the women gamers out there, because that led us to a new thing to do in the gallery now. So we're gonna have a women's game night, and she said she has about 20 girls who are already ready, set, and go. So we have TV set up there. So it was nice to make that connection. And again, it was crazy. It was doing Women's Appreciation. All these connections. So definitely give a word out there. And then honestly, that was it that I had. I'll have to come back with the information, but it's CC, and she has a salon down on Lee Road. So I definitely wanted to give a shout out to her.
Okay. How about you, Ray?
So, of course, it's Women's Month, so we definitely got to shout out the ladies, of course. But as far as artists go, today I want to shout out, as I'm looking to find her handle, Nisi Red. That's her name, but I can't find her information right now.
You said DC Red?
Nisi Red.
Oh,
Nisi Red?
Red, like the color red.
Okay.
Oh,
Red.
yeah. Oh, well.
So
Nisi Red on Twitter, she's at Lady Banagaru. Lady.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's what her Instagram is as well.
Okay.
Truthfully, guys, that was horrendous. Can we just do that part over again?
Right. So, I guess I'll give a shout out to the ladies as well.
Women's in the next room.
Y'all got me out here. I don't have no lady shout outs going on right now. I'm gonna give a shout out to my guy Ross Hughes. He's a great colorist. And the good thing about Ross Hughes is he does work for Marvel, he does work for DC. But guess what? He also accepts commissions, so he can do work for you too. So if you look him up, Ross Hughes Art, he's on DeviantArt. You can look his stuff up. It's super professional because he works for the top companies. I think he's even done some stuff for Hanna-Barbera. But he's generally, a lot of times he's open for commissions. So if you're looking for a real professional colorist, look up Ross. He's usually open for commissions. Sometimes he gets super busy and you can't. But if you think you're ready for that professional quality coloring, look up Ross. So shout out to Ross Hughes. Go ahead, Newman, you want to tell people where they can find you at again?
Yeah, again, Chris Newman, NEWMAN, 216 at Instagram.
Yeah, my name is Raymond Youngblood, creator of Twilight Angel. You can find me at Instagram at Raiz, RAIZ_ARTS, Raiz Arts.
And again, this is Madison Hawthorne from Golden Tree Publishing, and you can find me on YouTube. It's Golden Tree TV on YouTube. Again, it's Golden Tree TV. You can find this podcast on Golden Tree TV, and also on Podbean. And if you look us up on Instagram, it's Golden Tree Publishing on Instagram, and it's Golden Tree Publishing on Facebook. You can pick up Unicorn Melee on Comixology and on Amazon. You can also pick up Eta, Samurai Tale on Comixology as well. And you can also catch me at, if you see me at conventions, stop by my table. Thanks.